Now, let's talk about the Colosseum. Who doesn't love a little blood, guts, and ancient Roman spectacle? No, seriously, who doesn't love that? It's practically the perfect recipe for a good time. But I'm not here to judge. Instead, we're going to dive into the secrets, intrigue, and sheer awesomeness of one of history's most iconic structures. So hold on to your togas, because we're about to take a wild ride back in time. In 70 AD, the Flavian dynasty decided they needed something special to impress the masses. And I'm not talking about a new pair of gladiator sandals or a tunic with a really cool print. I'm talking about a massive amphitheater that would make the gods themselves jealous. They set their sights on a rectangular piece of land near the Roman Forum, right beside the emperor's palace. With the backing of the entire Roman Empire, construction began in earnest, and just 8 years later, boom, the Colosseum was open for business. Talk about efficiency. These guys knew how to get things done, but not without some serious manpower. Estimates say that over 100 elephants worth of stone went into making this bad boy, not to mention the countless hours of labor. Talk about a labor of love. But the real question is, what was the deal with its shape? You know, why not go all out round like a circus or make it square like the Forum? Well, it turns out the Romans had some pretty solid reasons. First off, the rectangular shape helped make sure everyone had a good view of the action no matter where they were sitting. Plus, it made it easier to figure out how many people could fit in there. And let me tell you, the Colosseum wasn't messing around when it came to capacity. Some historians say it could fit up to 80,000 spectators. That's like half the population of Rome at the time. Now, I don't know about you, but that's a whole lot of butts in seats. And let's be real, who doesn't love a good butt? In fact, the design of the Colosseum was so efficient that even today it's still the largest amphitheater ever built. As the crowds flooded in, buzzing with excitement, the gladiators made their way to the underground level. This labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, known as the Hypogeum, was their home away from home. Here they prepared for battle, tending to their wounds, sharpening their weapons, and plotting their next moves. But it wasn't just a place for the gladiators to hang out. The Hypogeum also housed all sorts of other folks, from the trainers and physicians to the exotic animals and their handlers. It was like a bustling city beneath the city. The main floor was a flurry of activity as gladiators stretched, trained, and prepped for their deadly performances. Some honed their sword skills while others practiced the art of deception, knowing their survival depended on their ability to outsmart their opponents. And let's not forget about those poor souls who didn't make it out alive. Their bodies sometimes lay around until it was time for the next match, a grim reminder of the risks of this high-stakes game. Meanwhile, the Valerium cast an ominous shadow over the stands as it moved across the sky. As spectators settled in, anticipation hung heavy in the air. All eyes were on the opening ceremony as teams of runners, trumpet players, and cavalrymen paraded around the track, getting everyone pumped for the main event. And then, drumroll please, the gladiators emerged from the depths of the earth, each one more fearsome than the last. There were the Murmillo, heavily armored warriors who charged into battle with swords and shields at the ready. Then the Retiarius, nimble fighters who relied on nets and tridents to take down their opponents. And let's not forget the fierce female gladiators known as the Amazon, who proved that women could be just as brutal and badass as men. And don't think for a second that these fights were anything less than intense. We're talking full-on combat with real weapons, and a real chance of death or injury. Yep, you heard that right. These weren't your average sword-wielding simps. No, these gladiators were the real deal, trained to fight and not afraid to spill some blood. I mean, the audience wouldn't have kept coming back if it was all fake, right? But it wasn't all about brute force. Tactics and strategy played a big role too. Each type of gladiator had their own strengths and fighting style, and the crowds loved to cheer on their favorites. And let's not forget about the crowd's favorite pastime, betting on the outcomes. These fights were serious business. People put their money where their mouths were, and the stakes were higher than the Colosseum itself. But it wasn't just about the fights. The Colosseum was also a place for public spectacles like mock sea battles and animal hunts. And let me tell you, the Romans knew how to throw a party. They spared no expense when it came to recreating the high seas with ships and everything. And when it came to hunting, they went all out with poisonous snakes, giant birds, and even African elephants. Talk about a wild time. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the sand, the hunt reached its climax. The exhausted lion fell to his knees. His strength ebbed away. A collective gasp rippled through the audience as the hunter approached the fallen beast. With a final blow, the hunt was over, and the victor stood triumphant. But the show wasn't quite finished yet. The defeated lion, though mortally wounded, suddenly sprang back to his feet, roaring one last time before collapsing again. A hush fell over the crowd as they watched the hunter approach the fallen lion one last time to deliver a mercy-killing blow. The Colosseum echoed with the cheers of the victors and the groans of defeat. As the crowds made their way home, the night was filled with tales of daring escapes and valiant battles. The roar of the crowd still echoing in their ears, they couldn't wait to share their stories and be part of the legend of the greatest hunting grounds in the world. For centuries, the Colosseum stood proudly in the heart of Rome, a symbol of the empire's power and glory. But as the years went on, it fell into disrepair, victim to earthquakes and neglect. By the Middle Ages, it was little more than a crumbling ruin. But even in its decay, the Colosseum continued to inspire awe and wonder. In the 1300s, it became a quarry for building materials, with locals taking pieces of the ancient structure to use in their own homes or businesses. But as the Renaissance rolled around, people began to appreciate the historical significance of the Colosseum. It became a popular tourist destination, with visitors from all over Italy and beyond coming to marvel at the ruins. And in the early 1800s, the Italian government took steps to preserve the Colosseum, launching a massive restoration project to prevent further damage. This effort was so successful that today we can still see the Colosseum standing strong, a testament to the hard work of those who came before us. But the Colosseum wasn't just a symbol of the Roman Empire's power. It was also a tool for political control. Emperors used the games and events held there to win over the hearts and minds of the people, ensuring their loyalty and support. It was a carefully orchestrated display of power and spectacle that cemented their place in Roman history. But despite its grandeur and political significance, the Colosseum wasn't immune to controversy. Some historians argue that the violence and brutality of the games were a reflection of Roman society's values, while others see them as a necessary evil to keep the masses distracted and under control. The debate continues to this day. The Colosseum may be a thing of the past, but its impact on history is undeniable. From its innovative design to its controversial events, the Colosseum has captured the imagination of people for centuries. And as we continue to uncover the secrets of this ancient structure, we're reminded of the incredible ingenuity and ambition of the Roman Empire. It's funny how a place like the Colosseum can evoke such strong emotions. On the one hand, it was a symbol of power and entertainment. On the other, it was a place of bloodshed and death. It makes you wonder what kind of person would enjoy watching such brutality and how much of it was just for show. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the Colosseum wasn't just a place of violence, but a reflection of human nature itself, capable of both great beauty and terrible cruelty. So, what do you think? What's your favorite part of the Colosseum story? And which ancient legend should we cover next? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more historical adventures. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time. Until next time, keep learning and stay curious.